Hello and welcome to Mad Goes Racing, and today we're back in Automobilist 2 having a look at the latest update, which is version 1.2.2.0, and have a quick run through the changelog and then have a look at a few things, and there's some interesting little tidbits in here, so without further bullshit, let's get on with it. Right, content. Tracks added the Salvador street circuit. This is something that came from AMS2, so if you're familiar with that, you should be familiar with it. Added Qashqai alternate layout. We'll have a look to see what the changes in a minute. And added alternative Interlagos stock car stroke GP variants. Latter features temporary grandstands from Grand Prix weekend. So that's basically the same circuit. I think the difference is one's got DRS zones and some stands and the other one hasn't. Vehicles added the Porsche RSR 3.0 1974 to the GT Classics series. That's the only car in the series at the moment, but I'm assuming there will be more to come. General added support for 6 user control sets per profile. Slots can be renamed, known issues. Reset the defaults does not reset name. Controller type wheel gamepad is not retained with saved set. I would have to come in and out of the game a couple of times to check that, but I thought it was, but well, whatever. Disabled collisions during formation laps and rolling starts, so hopefully the AI won't kill you before you even get to the start line, and nor will anybody online. Fixed championship editor saving incorrect dates for P/Q sessions. Just make this a bit bigger. Added custom steering lock setting when the user is running with a gamepad or digital controller for less sensitive steering than a regular default steering lock. UI and HUD added binding entries for onboard traction control stroke ABS adjustments, assignments per vehicle, or sorry, assignments in the assignments vehicle bit. Of course they're not per vehicle, you plonker. Fixed save load notification not displaying when switching user control presets. Added ability to copy another user control preset to the currently active control set. Move control screen reset the defaults button up to user preset section to reinforce it is profile specific. Added the current user preset name to controls screen secondary tabs. Corrected various track UI information errors. Fixed setup screen displaying adjustable dampers when they have none when unitless option is enabled. Disabled redundant aerodynamic settings in setup screen for various wingless vehicles. Fixed qualify session length not correctly displaying in championship overview for custom championships. Fixed incorrect help text on test day custom date input. Fixed French text appearing on German version of the time trial loading screen tip text. Fixed engine braking label in edit setup screen, and they've spelled it braking BREAKING, which in some ways is quite funny, in other ways, Fixed untranslated live track preset label on session settings screen. Added text for Laguna Seca and Daytona NASCAR layout. Physics, revised tyre treads for M1 Pro Car, Group A cars, minor tyre tread adjustments for Group C Apollers, Formula V, Lotus 23, Caper Classics Mini, GT5, G40 Cut, Formula 3, Formula Trailer, Amiga Stock Car 2019, GT3, GT4, Karts, all variants. Whew, what a list. Fixed error causing new traction control model not to be used in all cars featuring the system except Formula V10 Gen 2 and McLaren 720S. Adjusted baseline damper settings for Formula Retro Gen 1 and Formula V. Revised brake heating functions for GTs and classic tin tops. Adjusted body drag coefficients for Group A Pro Car and Vintage Touring Cars. Revised inertia values for both Vintage Touring Cars. Revised differential ramp angles for Pro Car and Group A cars. Adjusted default front wheel camber for all karts. Revised diff settings for all GTs and stock cars. Corrected Mini 1965 gear ratios. Adjusted default tow settings for Ginetta G55 and the Mercedes GT3. adjusted Omega diff preload, BMW M4 GT4, stiffer rear suspension rates, revised engine lifetime ranges for all cars, Cadillac DPI fixed a bug causing a pit stop crash to desktop due to missing default compound option. Adjusted front and rear tow ranges for Formula Classics Group C requires setup reset. Minor default setup adjustments for both Group C cars, setup reset recommended. Added throttle map for Porsche GT3R. Minor manual H-shift RPM tolerance adjustments for completing clutchless shifts. Slightly reduced grass and gravel bump amplitude. Hey, not so bumpy on the grass. Good. Minor revisions to grass, gravel, grasscrete friction coefficients. I don't know if they made them slippery or not. Scroll too far. AI, general. AI calibration pass for dry and wet weather performance. Further reduced AI lateral rate in urgent moves. Fixed bug where fuel would be consumed by AI during accelerated time or during skip to end when the fuel consumption is set to off. Fix some strategical decisions by AI not taking into account the fuel consumption setting when set to off. Carburetor smooth fast line start finish joint to prevent AI slowdown crossing it. Laguna Seca reset collision corridors at T11 fix for AI pileups on the rolling starts. Bathurst minor AI grip adjustment. Further increased AI performance in qualifying versus race. Taruma adjust pit lane exit speed. Interlagos kart adjusted AI grip for all layouts. Audio. Surface sounds lowered flat curbs volume increased dirty debris offline occurrence. Get my teeth back in. BMW M1 Pro Car adjusted chase cam live play sound. Tracks VIR added seasonal foliage, optimised track cut mesh, minor art and optimisation pass, fixed broken shrubs. Montreal, more than historic, added seasonal foliage. Cascavel, fixed terrain hole and gap in the barriers near the old pit. Laguna Seca, fixed some object lod popping. Oulton Park, updated seasonal foliage textures. Cascade, minor art and optimisation pass. Spielberg Grand Prix, added missing brake marker boards at turn 6. I'm trying to think which one's turn 6. Can't think where that one is. I know a couple of the turns are a bit oddly numbered due to the fact that the slight kink in a straight is actually a turn according to some people. Hockenheim ring, I got sidetracked. Enable playground for short layouts. Interlagos Kart 1, relax track limits at T7. Kaz-I, minor lod tweak. Adjusted Interlagos, Nürburgring, Snetterden, trackside camera glitches. Spielberg Historic, added VR cams. Carroll Park, fix invisible bits of road. Right. Added working trackside cameras to all Speedland layouts. Vehicles, supercart, stroke kart, shifter, added shifter and driver shifter animations. Stock car Corolla 2021, updated front bumper and hood model as per recent series facelift. Stock car Cruise 2020, fixed the cockpit bonnet and external damage clipping on the top. Minor adjustment to first shadow cascade radius from cockpit view. Switched vintage touring car drivers to GT vintage models. Adjusted driver load levels to minimise driver parts from popping out while still in sight. Formula Ultimate fix inverted left mirror. And here end of the reading. And if I scroll back up, let's have a look what we can have a look at. Right, scroll. God, there's a lot of that one there. Right, the tracks. We'll have a look at Salvador in a minute. But Cascai alternative layout. If I go to Cascai. You see, this was the one with the noddy little chicane in it. Noddy has been removed and been replaced by big ears around the outside. So you now don't have to go through that Mickey Mouse chicane. You can actually go around that one. I'd like to see them actually get the original circuit where it went balls out around here as well, but maybe one day, maybe. Stock car and GP variants of Interlagos. There's now two. One with all the, that's stock car. That's the with the DRS, same as the GP one. I haven't actually looked, but I presume most of the difference is the fact that there's, apart from the DRS, there's also a load of grandstands been taken down. Salvador is this tricky little street circuit. I'm not a huge fan of two things on racetracks. I'm not a huge fan of tight chicanes, and I'm not a huge fan of hairpins. So, yeah. This is not my ideal circuit by any stretch of the imagination, so I will have a drive around it in a minute, but the other new piece of content is the RSR, the 1974 version with the whale tail. Various games have had this before. Project Cars, the 73 version with the smaller tail, which was quite a nice car. GT Legends had both the small tail and the whale tail version, only I can't remember whether that was the 74 or not. I think it was. But nice looking car. Have a look in the showroom whilst I just have a cup of coffee. Nice martini colours. Nice looking car. My God, look at the size of those nuts. Now, in amongst the other things were some changes to controls. So now we have up the top here the user control preset. So you can have multiple presets. So if you've got more than one wheel rim, for example, or like me, you happen to have something like an SSH shifter, you can actually have it so that rather than using your paddles and not being able to use sort of your paddles and the other one at the same time at the moment, until they add that option, or unless you use something like joy to key or some other weird way around it. What you could do is, I've actually set this up so at the moment I think I've got I've got my shifter set up as an 8 shifter, and then I'm using the gear up, gear down on the wheel here. What I could do is I could go, right, I'll set up another one. As you notice, it's now got a guide page, so I'm going, oh bugger, I don't want that. I want to start off with what I originally had. So you go copy from another, so I'll copy that one. So now user set 2 is a copy of that. I can edit this, so we go, we'll call it sec shift. And if I hit the continue, now if I go into edit assignments, at the moment I've got button 4 and 5. Now, is it actually set to? No, it's not. If I do that, hopefully I've hit the right things. If I do that, that should come up and say button 9, hopefully, and then if I do this, it should go button 8. So now I've set up my sequential shifter, so I could use that instead of using the buttons on my wheel, which is lovely. And that's the only difference between the two, is just which paddle shifter you got. So, and then I want to go back to the other one, I can just do that, and hopefully it's now saved both, because if I go to here I should have 4 and 5, then go to here, hit the right button, I should have 8 and 9. It is a bit bizarre that it just says joy button whatever and it doesn't tell you which particular peripheral it's talking about, because that can be quite confusing, but hopefully at some point they might change that. But we'll go back to the other one and I will just give myself another turn and flick my button. and hopefully I've got it back in the right mode. One thing I forgot to check was whether or not when you do that, not that it makes any difference, whether or not the force feedback has, yeah, it's kept the same force feedback settings between the two. So hopefully that will, if you've set your force feedback up for one, it will be the same for all the rest. So I don't know if they're planning to change it, because obviously if you've got a nice small Formula wheel and then a big old fucking 33cm big old American like stock car wheel, you don't necessarily want the same FFP settings on both. So whether they're going to put those in with it as well, I don't know. It would make sense, but we'll see. Right, let's go back to that one. And what else was there? Was there something else they'd changed that? What else was it? Oh yeah, steering lock settings. If you're running the gamepad, I was a bit undecided on this one. I'll run out of coffee. Okay. If you are like me, my main problem's usually been differences in speed sensitive steering causing me issues. Whether or not being able to adjust the steering lock and the speed sensitive steering gives me the right combination, I don't know, but we'll find out. It's all more options are good in some cases. But anyway, let's just go and have a look around the Salvador circuit. For those who may or may not have seen it in the past. By the way, as part of this update, your control settings will have been wiped, so you will have to assign all your controls again, which is annoying, or maybe not, depending on your point of view. But right, I will say, I'm not a huge fan of these type of circuits in the first place, as in things with lots of let's just turn all the stuff off and get the right button. Which one's set to change the, oh, that'll do. Oh shit, that one will do. Right, now it's got a lot of this around the outside. It's all like bits of concrete, so you feel like you're racing down a tunnel rather. But in terms of layout, it's okay. I mean, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of sort of hairpins, and this one's not so tight. There's a couple that seem a bit tighter. This probably isn't really a hairpin if you want to be pedantic, but it's still quite tight. Don't go that way, there's a wall over there. Yeah, I did. And obviously nice cityscape over the background. Bang me mic, sorry. Interesting building ahead. I don't know quite what it is. Looks like it belongs in Halo for some reason, I don't know. It's probably because I've been playing a bit of Halo Infinite multiplayer and it just tweaked my attention there. Right, another hairpin. Some people wouldn't go, that's not a hairpin, it's not tight enough. The I mean, it's all a little bit samey, I'm afraid, because of the concrete wall with all the identical bloody things around it. A couple of 3 times I've been going around and going, which corner am I coming up to, because it all looks a bit samey. But once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad. I can't remember how much track rubber I got in. Also, I don't think I quite got my FFB quite right to where I like it. It feels it's a bit bouncy. Right, this is the first of the nasty little chicanes. This one feels alright initially when you turn in, and then you get to about here and you're going, oh my god, as you turn here you're heading straight towards that wall if you're not careful. And I've hit that one quite a few times. As you come across, again, don't go that way. As you come round here, you might find you're understeering a bit. This car is a little bit understeering when the front end's a bit cold, but again, nicely modelled buildings in the background. I can't remember where the start finish is. This corner is quite tricky because it's quite quick, and this thing is quite difficult to get the front end to tuck in because it's got a lot of weight at the back, and you can't always get it to rotate when you want it to on faster corners. That's obviously with default settings. If you adjust them, it might get better. It has had a few changes between its first beta release and the current release, so it's probably better than it was. Now, this is definitely a bit of a hairpin. This is the one that's sort of tighter than a tight thing. Again, you'll probably end up understeering like a pig through there. So, now, was that the... no, it's not, is it? I'm trying to remember where the bloody pit entrance is. This is the trouble with this type of circuit. It's all looks so samey, and you end up going, I'm not sure. Right, that's the pit entrance. So, this is the... it's not as bad as it was initially. They've de-humped the sausages a bit, but as you can imagine, you sort of come through there and eek. Right, can I press the right button to get back in the car? Right, let's have a couple of fast laps if we can. Oop. Back in, slithering about all over the place. Brakes are a little bit. As you can feel, or hear, probably, the front end's trying to lock up quite a bit when the brakes are stone cold, so... you just slow down a lot more than you think through there, and the back end is very loose in slow corners as well. Basically, don't use first gear. I think I'm in second. Probably should have used my H pattern on that one, but I tell. And this is lump it through the chicane and try not to do that. Oh well, we'll go in the pit, shall we? I couldn't have done that if I'd have tried a million times, but there you go. You have to go this way, not that way, but... it's an interesting pit lane because it's like this big loop. Right, let's try one more lap. But as you can see, it's all a little bit looks the same, so it's quite confusing. I seem to have to do a huge amount of laps to get to the point of actually working out where I was. Like I said, don't use first, and then he uses first, so... but it's got quite a loose rear end through slow corners. Very difficult to get the power down. Again there, it feels like it just wants to carry on sliding. Not sure how warm the tyres are at the moment, but... it is very bumpy, which is not surprising as for a street circuit, but I just don't feel like I can really push the car around here without throwing it in the wall. Let's try not to kill ourselves over the bumpy bits this time. Hey, we're through. So this isn't actually a hairpin, but it's like some circuits that would be considered a hairpin. Done it again, going down to first. It's not driving so much as a wrestling match at the moment. I don't know whether it's just this particular car around this particular circuit, but I tried it round. Oh shit! Like I said, you're quite often going to hit the wall out of there. The 1974 Hockenheim ring. It was lovely around here. Not Hockenheim, Spielberg ring. Or the Österreich rings, it should be correctly called, as it's 1974. Definitely an older Porsche. Understeers like a pig. We'll just turn the HUD back on so I can see how warm the tyres are. Getting there slowly. Slipping and sliding everywhere. I don't know whether it just needs a bit more work, or whether it's just I'm not getting the hang of this particular car around this particular circuit, but I'll just say, ugh. I know a lot of people said it was really good for truck racing around here. I'm like, oh, okay. Ooh, cut. But yeah, I mean, okay, I did go a couple of seconds to lap faster than that the other day, so well, I'm just not feeling the love. Press a button. I mean, let me just have a quick. If I can have a look at it from the outside. And just it sounds lovely. Looks lovely. I'm just not 100% convinced by the way it drives at the moment. But whether they're going to do some more with it, or whether they go, that's what it is, I don't know. It just feels like it needs a little bit more grip at low speed. As you can see there, it's like I wasn't exactly hot foot in the throttle at that point. It just felt like it started to drift and wouldn't stop. Whether that's the way the diff was locking, I don't know. Then I just touched the wall again. I mean, it genuinely looks like a bouncy little Porsche. I should think something like Formula V's around here is quite nice. I haven't actually tried it yet. I've been sort of doing a few other bits and pieces, but oh, bounce. So there you have it, as they say. Interesting couple of additions. Not necessarily my cup of tea in terms of the circuit, and I like the car, but not round here. Round, like I said, historic Spielberg or somewhere like the Hockenheim Ring, which are more in line with the sort of circuits you'd be racing in the day, it feels a lot better. But around here, it's just either it's too bumpy, or it's too tight, or it's just me being a plonker. So take your pick. I know what you're all going for. He's a plonker. But yeah, that's the 1.2.2 update, and again, it's got some nice quality of life improvements. So they are talking about doing a load more in the multiplayer. I think that's been posted a few places now, copies of whatever was said, which is basically Renato saying they need to put more effort into the multiplayer. But that'll come, along with their ratings and everything else. So look forward to that as well, and another nice step in the right direction. I've tried a couple of other cars, and there's some nice improvements here and there, but I must get practice for some wet racing later. Or it's wet and dry, so it's going to rub me up in the wrong way probably, or smooth me out, one of the two. But from me, for now, that's the latest on Automobilista 2, and enjoy racing, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.